Just a quick disclaimer again that the sun keeps going in and out. I seem to always be recording around the same time that the sun just keeps dipping, but hopefully it's not too distracting. So hi, welcome to another video. In this video, I am going to be doing a flip through of my life archives. So I have done a half flip through on my channel already. I just checked it right before recording. I filmed it about 3 months ago, and the very last page that I showed you was this page. So I've already done a video flipping through, I think, every single one of these pages. And so I won't flip through it again from the beginning because I think that'll just be way too long of a video. But I do have all of these pages. So I will do my best not to ramble like crazy so that we can actually make it through, because I don't want this to be like over an hour, which I know very easily it can be. But if this is the first video of mine that you're watching and you haven't seen the previous video, and you don't want to watch the previous flip through, my life archives is just a memory keeping journal, and I call it the life archives just because I like giving things a name. And so it's just a way for me to print out photos of very ordinary moments. I feel like my days are quite boring because I do work from home, like I said before. And so it could just be something like, oh, it was raining a lot today and I wanted to take a photo of that. So I just want to preface this video by saying that my life archives are very simple moments, but it's my life. So, you know, typically when we see like memory keeping journals, which is not a bad thing, but we see people go out a lot and eat and catch up with friends, but like, I don't really do much except like work at home and go out for coffee and food with my husband and just spend time with my husband. So everything really is just revolving around work, home, my journals, food, my husband, and that's really about it. And yeah, I just wanted to start the video by saying that. So this is an old notebook that I've had for years. I've had it for so long that I don't even remember when I bought it and where I bought it and like what brand it is. I have no idea. I've just had it for a really long time, and I don't like the lines, like the spacing of the lines. So this was a really interesting, I guess I gotta say, like, I'm so relieved that this journal is now finally completed, because it's been an ordeal trying to get through it, because I mean, at the end of it all, I'm really glad I pushed through, because I learned so much about myself and what I want from my journal from doing my life archives. I said that so weird, in this journal. So after doing it, you know, I know that I like, you know, I gravitate towards a specific layout or, you know, certain writing. So as you will see towards the end, you know, it does change. But let's get into the flip through, because that was already way too much talking. This is something that I did in February, and I really want to do more of in my next life archives, which I will show at the end, because I had just bought a new typewriter and I was testing it out on, I don't even know what this was. This is the back of some sort of like flyer advertisement. And I love being able to, I don't know, like I've been playing around the idea of maybe starting a new planner just for typewriter, like writing or quotes. But I think if I just work it into my life archives, we shall see. But I do love how this looks, and I feel like this is just another good way to, I don't know, take up a whole page without needing to write so much. But this is me just documenting the new typewriter that I bought. I bought it for $30. I'm very much a bargain hunter, and that's 30 Australian dollars as well, and single owner as well, which is amazing. So I have 2 typewriters, and do I need 2 typewriters? No, but I wanted to collect, like I love typewriters so much, and I'm not really a collector. I just know that I wanted multiple typewriters in the same way that I want multiple film cameras. Again, I'm not a collector, but there are certain things where I know I want 2 of them because they're so precious. So I just loved the build quality of this Olympia, and it was fully working. I bought it for $30, and it retails for about $500 to $800 when it's in 90% working condition, which is incredible. So I feel like I got a really good deal on that. So here I was very much inspired by Jane the Crazy, and I wanted to try something a little bit more junk journally. So I took a flyer from this park that we went to, and then I just like, I don't know, I just decorated. It was really, really fun. And I feel like I definitely want to do more of this like junk journal style. But again, it's only possible in a bigger journal like this. It's a bit hard when I'm using, like, I'm currently switching to a smaller size, but we'll see. Looking back at this, I love this. I love just, it's fun. It's so fun seeing this. And I think this is the only one that I did like this, the only page in the whole book. Here I did a photo booth by myself, also inspired by Jane, because she does a lot of photo booth pictures by herself. And this one was an open photo booth at a market. And let me tell you, I was sweating the entire time I did this, waiting in line, because facing the camera, it was facing the entire line of people. That was not humiliating, but I was embarrassed but determined. I'm like, screw it. I really want these cute photos. And I kind of buckled at the end and I got really nervous, but I'm really proud of myself still for getting these photos, even though it was so awkward doing it in front of people. And yeah, I went to visit my friend and patron Bambi at this market and just kind of stuck all the little things in, which is really cute. So you can see Jane definitely influenced like my junk journaling stint here. I do like how I tipped in both business cards there. Another typewriter thing pasted in. I missed this. I forgot about it. And it's kind of like a commonplace quote, but I don't know. I don't mind when there's overlap between them, because I think, you know, they both represent a different time in my life. They both are parallel, like kind of representations of my life, but I wrote this on the Olympia. I think I was just raving about it. And here I bought a new brush pen. So I had been, again, inspired by Jane the Crazy, I had been pining over a brush pen for so long because she made it look so good in her journals. And it's not the one that she has, but I found one in Daiso. And I actually really, really love this pen. I think it's perfect for my writing. And so I started using it more, but this was the packaging from the pen and I just stuck a sticker on top. My friend and patron Maddie was offloading some stamps, and I definitely used the wrong, you probably can't see it, I definitely used the wrong ink for that, but these are really, really cute stamps and I actually totally forgot about them. So I do want to use my stamps more, but I'm trying so hard to get through my sticker stash right now that like stamps are like not the priority, but I really should use it. And so I just stuck in her message there. And here I totally forgot I did that. So at the library, I was working at the library and then I put a call out on my Instagram asking if anyone would be interested in a workshop, like a journaling workshop. And this is crazy to look back on because that workshop has been done. I've done 2 workshops since then in Melbourne. And so, yeah, seeing the origins of it is really nice. And that same day, my husband and I went to get skewers, and this is kind of where it all started. We got re-obsessed with these like fried skewers. The first time we had these were in Melbourne, and then it's been coming to Sydney, and this was back in February. I'm telling you now, we are still so obsessed with these fried skewers. We cannot get enough. And here, I don't know what I'm saying. I think I just want to document the photo. So this is where I started struggling with the life archives because I had nice photos I wanted to put in, but I didn't have this much to say about it. This was way too much for a single photo. Like the moments were quite ordinary and didn't require so much writing. And so that's what I kind of realized, like it was hard to keep up with it because there was only so much I could say. And that's when I realized the size I don't think worked, and that if I do post a photo, you know, either I should make it bigger or have multiple photos to a page. But this is when it all started just getting a bit too much to keep up with. Even here, like I wanted to document that we made ham and cheese croissants this entire week for breakfast, and like there's really only so much I can say about ham and cheese croissants, and you know, I can find something to say, but it wasn't a very organic process for me. I was like really trying to find the words to fill up the page. And then this is a really old Polaroid, it's not really Polaroid, it's a Fujifilm Instax photo, and I found it and it was loose, and I've never really had a place to put these kinds of photos, and so I just stuck it in because I just found it, and I think it worked so well. So most of my photos are printed on scrap paper, but I like breaking it up with, you know, printed or like Instax photos. And here's skewers yet again. We went to the city. We tried out this like cheesecake ice cream, which was extremely expensive. So we're probably not going to go back there. But you got like a piece of cheesecake and ice cream for like $14. Anyway, it's just talking about the day. And then some shopping from that day. I bought some things from Muji and I just pasted in the receipt. And yeah, I mean, that's what I bought as well. So again, just playing around with a bit of junk journaling and tip-ins, and I actually really like how this looks because it reminds me of travel journaling a little bit, and I like that vibe of like keeping ephemera and junk in the journal. And here it was my husband's birthday, and I love this photo because I asked the cafe if they could like surprise him with, you know, I just asked if they could write 31 in chocolate. I really didn't want them to go out of their way, but they ended up surprising us both and giving him a piece of cake and writing happy birthday. So they went above and beyond, and it was super sweet. That cake was so good, but that was a really nice memory. And I am archiving my, why is that stuck down? Archiving my wall calendar. This is a calendar that I post every month for my Patreon. And so this normally lives on my wall, but when I'm done, it's just printed on scrap paper. When I'm done, I just stick it here in my book because it's a great way to archive it. And here is another date in the city, and there isn't a photo, but we had skewers again that day. And the reason why we went to the city was because there was a travelers company stamp caravan, and so free stamps. Of course I'm going to go, and I brought a ton of paper to stamp, and I was sweating so much the entire time because the table where you could get stamps it was really awkward, and there was a staff member there the entire time. So my social anxiety just made me like sweat like crazy, but you know, I did it. I took my time. I took this from like one of the kind of, what do you call it, like jot pad? What do you call it? Like the scribble tester pen pad thing. And so I took that, and yeah, I liked how that looks, and I love that. My husband actually took a video for my YouTube, some footage. I can't remember if I've actually posted that, but I just took a screen cap from that and posted and printed that as a photo. And I also bought 3 inserts and got free stickers, and then we got some ice cream as well. And then here is, I'm just talking about this sticker release paper, like the sticker album, and how I was kind of fussy cutting all of the stickers and just spent I just got so obsessed cutting up my PET tape to put into my sticker album. And like, I love how it turned out. And I feel like it's I'm trying to grab my sticker album right now. I feel like it's such an easier way to, you know, like organize and see all your stickers and without needing to cut your PET tape every single time. And so I was just so caught up in the flow of cutting this and collaging this, and there's some gaps now because I've used some stickers, so I need to go back and fill those in. But yeah, that's what this spread was about. I was just getting so obsessed with cutting and filling this out, but that was fun. And then here, I'm just writing some fond memories lately, so I got a little bit better. Like, these 2 photos aren't necessarily related and they didn't need a spread on its own, so I kind of combined them and then talked about them both. I just loved the way my desk looked. It was super clean. It definitely is not this clean right now, but I'm getting there. And then this, I just had been working on my Japan travel journal and the Japan vlog, and I could have printed off more photos of this, but I still love how that looks. I love this photo as well. I can't wait for my desk to be clean again. I'm so sick of it being messy. And this spread is for when my journaling workshop went live, and I just added this little illustration to the email that goes out. So just documenting that. And on this side, mentioning that I started media logging in the weekly If you know my videos, you know how I feel about the weekly. And here I said I spent the day stocking for the March shop update, so I guess I'm just talking about the March shop update, and a new sticker that I made, which is Herbie, my bear, holding a TN like cover, like a traveler's notebook cover. And I started daily logging that day as well. And this day is just, I really like this photo. Again, I could have printed that way bigger. I don't know why I kept sticking to the same size. Like, I get it. For consistency, it's nice to stick to the same size. But I think I wasn't comfortable enough breaking routines just yet. I hope that is not too bright. I might make that slightly darker. And then I bought new jeans, so that was on the same day. But I mean, this worked because when I stuck this in, it reduced the amount of writing space, but I definitely could have made that picture bigger. And this is me documenting the day that I mowed the lawn completely on my own for the first time. So usually my husband and I mow the lawn together, like he does the edges and I mow the lawn, and it's a reluctant couple activity. We both do not like mowing the lawn, but the lawn was getting so long and my husband's been so busy at work that I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to do it on my own. So I was very proud of myself, but I was extremely tired and sweaty, and I just wanted to document that. I eventually convinced myself that like, oh, this is actually good because it's kind of a workout. As much as I hate it and it feels like a waste of time, it's kind of a workout, so it's not too bad. Here I was documenting my hair. Oh, this was right afterwards. So it was the same day. Took a shower and my hair looked great because I let it air dry. That's the best thing about showering in the morning. I don't usually, but when I do, I love letting my hair air dry when it's hot. And the studio looks so clean, just looking back at that. And then I started these little like pocket notebooks and just wrapped it with some cardstock that I had. You can probably tell that the pictures like are a bit too small. And here I was still doing the Polaroid frame, but later I do get rid of that. Just documenting my daily logging, and then I've added a column and started using the brush pen. Again, probably should have been bigger. In my Discord, just documenting some funny moments. In my Discord, one of my patrons, Bambi, sends like these really funny personality quizzes when she finds them, and I got espresso, and it was just it just looks like me. I was just laughing at that, and yeah, it was so funny seeing what everyone else got. And these really nice comments from Chris saying my Patreon and the Discord is the best, because it's just, I have the best community and I'm very, very active on my Discord. Like, we have conversations on there almost every single day, and it gets very intense, but it's very fun. And here is the first time that I kind of just documented that I posted a YouTube video, and I just wanted to show the thumbnail. The pen, I'm just noticing the pen now got really nice. So I think this pen ran out, so I finally switched to a nicer pen, and it looks so much better. But as you can see, that is so much writing. I wish now I tried columns, maybe like splitting the page somehow or printing it bigger, because I definitely struggled with this space. But I'm not sure if I want to document every single time I post a YouTube video, because I do that about weekly now. I think when I'm proud of the thumbnail, I might do it. I think because I had a dream about this, that I wanted to kind of talk about that. And here I was weeding the backyard, and I was just showing the before and after, and I was pretty proud of myself. Again, I should have made that like here much bigger. As you can tell, very, very ordinary, boring moments. Here I was packing, I wrote the two finally things. I finally packed some seconds bundles, and I was really proud of the packaging, and my washi tapes finally arrived for like the shop update, because my shop update was delayed because these weren't arriving yet. So as soon as they came, I photographed them, and the shop update went out. And I love this. Again, should have printed it like full page. I think that would have been nice. And then talking about the gallery piece that I did for Mellow Market back in April. Yes, back in April earlier this year, and this is one of the seconds, so I just stuck that in there. Here I'm just documenting some new prints that came. Here is one of them, and it kind of cut off center. I think I scratched it as well, so I just stuck that in. And then this screenshot is like this funny interaction I had with a live chat like customer service person, and It just made me laugh, so I really wanted to stick it in. And I started to experiment with putting the photos kind of in their own line instead of wrapping it around. And I did like that. So just some tip-ins there. Here I'm just documenting the stamps that I carved for the market because there was a stamp rally, and so I took part in that by carving some new stamps. And this is a second sticker because it didn't cut properly, but for the journaling workshop I made an exclusive sticker. I should really write like on here, but what I did was I wrote people's names on the ticket and gave it to each person. I'll write Herbie. Because there was a second and it didn't cut properly, I just kind of stuck it in there. Skewers, again, and this day Kevin had off. It was a 4-day long weekend, which was amazing, and so we just did what we always do on our day offs, which is just eat and work and walk around. It was great, and this spread is for the entire day. Again, probably way too much writing, and I should have just let the photos shine in that spread. And this is like one of my favorite spreads, just because the photos, as you can tell, there were so many photos that I wanted to print out and I could barely fit it in, but it ended up being great because I love it. I love seeing the photos. It makes me so happy. So we went to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, or is it Royal Sydney Easter Show? I think it's Sydney Royal Easter Show. So it's one of the things that I love going to every single year. It's so like, it's a family event, but I love it. I love everything about it. I've always gone since I was younger, and I really wanted this like goat selfie, so that cracks me up every time I see it. And as you can see, we're just eating a lot. The oysters and the rosé is a ritual for me. I regret not buying that hat because I think it looked really cute. And here we got tired and we're just resting on a tree before we eventually left. But yeah, this was an extremely fun day, and I'm so glad I documented that. And then here was kind of just, I really didn't know what to do here, but it was a quick spread summarizing my trip to Melbourne for Mellow Market. And I didn't know what to do because I already travel journaled in a separate journal, and so I didn't want overlap, but I had this extra photo. I had some other photos that didn't fit in the travel journal, and so this was very much an experimental thing. I'm not sure how to feel about it, but it was kind of just an overview, a high level summary of the trip rather than like in the travel journal where I broke it down day by day. But yeah, I definitely think there were more photos that I could have printed out. And this is when we got back, and then we got food poisoning like 3 days afterwards, and I'm kind of just sick, and then documenting that I was working on the couch, which I'm glad I did because this kind of set off like a new routine for me. I learnt a lot about taking it a little bit easier while I was sick, because I really couldn't do anything while I was sick. And so I was just on the couch all day, and I was like, hey, this is nice. So I started working on the couch, I started working outside, and I just started switching up my work environment a little bit. And here I'm just printing out some photos from the journaling workshop, which is, I love it so much. This was my second journaling workshop. Recent thrifting finds. So these are from 2 different days, 14th of April and 21st of April. But I found this great book that I loved that I really wanted a copy of. So it was amazing that I think I bought it for like $1 or something. And this dress I bought for $5 for a wedding, and I document the wedding later on as well. And here, just again, going out on a date with my husband, getting food and dessert, and just, we just love to eat. And here, just some moments of journaling in the sun. And I don't know, like if I just posted these photos, it almost would have been enough with just a caption. I just felt compelled to fill up the space, and so that's what I mean by like I was learning about what I needed, because am I really going to go back and read all of this? Like, is it necessary? Could I have written it as dot points, you know? But yeah, just some moments of like my journals in the sun, which I like. And then here I got a preview of a notebook I was designing with Tiffany from Faded Chronicle. I have a flip through of this on my channel. But yeah, just wanted to share that and talk about that. And then I interviewed Tiffany. This was actually before the preview, but I didn't get around to pasting it in. Wait, no, I didn't get around to editing it, I think. So I interviewed her way before we designed the notebook, but I finally only just got the video out. I was proud of the thumbnails, proud of the video, even though it didn't get many views. I'm just proud of it, and so I wanted to document that. And here is just a very simple spread about my business coaching journal, which I have now rebranded to be my client journal, just a general client journal. But I liked these photos, so I wanted to document that. And here is some happy mail from Maddie from Hello Naya. I got some stickers from her, and they're so cute, and I loved her packaging, so I kind of just repurposed it. This is all from her packaging. She is just the queen of like happy mails. It looks so beautiful. Her business card is so beautiful. Again, way too much space, but we went to Costco and I bought these new like storage organizers. And I know, just looking at this photo is a nice memory for me, because my husband kept digging around looking for the white one, because there was a red one and a green one, and we could see that there was a white one on the picture, but like we couldn't see it anywhere. So he was like digging through for me to try to find me a white one, which is really nice. And he was like, I was like umming and ahhing. I was like, do I really need this? And he's like, get it, I like it, you need it. And yeah, so I love how like one photo can bring back so many memories. And here I'm just debriefing after a coaching call with one of my patrons. I was just writing it down right before I was about to cook dinner. And here my hair was super curly, and I was carrying all of my journals out to the couch to journal and work. And I just took a quick selfie and I liked it. I should have made it bigger. Monthly reset and plan with me video. I was not sure what I was trying to say. I think I just liked the thumbnail and I took this photo, so just wanted to document that. Nothing special or profound. And here are just some moments from the couch as I wrote. And again, I just like the photos, and I feel like looking back at these, you know, in a few months from now, it's going to be really nice. Because this is only last month for me, it's still quite fresh, and so it's not as like impactful as like seeing, you know, this and this from a few months ago. It's still really nice because again, these photos would just live on my camera roll and I would never go back and look at it. But flipping back through the journal is like extremely satisfying and fun for me. And here I was just talking about some custom changes that I did for Tiffany, Faded Chronicle. So I do custom website coding as well, and she wanted some changes for her website. So I just love how we work with each other in different ways. Like we're designing a notebook together and then I'm working on her website. And I loved how it looked. So I just wanted to document that. And it's a bit hard to see. So honestly, this would have been great if it just took up the entire width of the page. And here I was just talking about the thank you card. I had a brief, I wrote her name. I think I spelled her name. I just did the B really weird. So I ended up just sticking it in to document what my thank you card looked like in this moment. And I wrote still undecided about packaging. And I'm glad I did this because I don't always keep a copy of what my thank you cards look like. And that reminds me now I have, I've since upgraded to this one, but the cut is a little bit off on it. So I think I will put this in my life archives as well to just document that, you know, this is what my current, because I'm using this currently, but who knows, in a month from now, I might not be using this. So it's a good way to just document changes in my business as well, like design decisions that I make. Here is just a screenshot of all of the threads in my workshop channel alone. We were just talking so much on that particular day, that week, and I love it. I love the side of this so much. I love spending my mornings catching up on Discord threads and just talking to everyone. It's honestly the highlight of my day. And here, this is way too small to see, but I'm revamping the inbox section on my Notion as a result of reading Second Brain, which is a workshop book club that I set, and I was just talking about my kind of thought process behind that and like why that works really well for me. This is kind of a commonplace. This one I was really undecided about whether it should go in the commonplace or the life archives, because it's not really like a life memory. It's more like a business, like thought memory. And so maybe that should have gone in the commonplace. But again, there's going to be some overlap and some things will belong better in other places. But as long as I have it archived somewhere is fine. We went to the city this day and I just went to go and touch a olive cover in person because I keep going between the brown and the olive. I'm just still undecided. That's like a whole video in itself, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the TN standard in olive when I go to Japan later this year. And I just Kevin was trying on glasses and I told him to pretend he was driving because that's what he wanted the glasses for. So before I mentioned I bought the wedding dress, like a dress to attend a wedding, and this is the wedding that I attended. It's the wedding of my first ever patron. And that's such a crazy sentence to say. She's not just a patron, she's a really good friend as well. And yeah, my husband and I were both invited. And this other person here is my admin, Kieran, who's also a patron. And so it was just so surreal being at this wedding together, and it was very fun. And the photo booth, I loved like just kind of cutting up everything and documenting it. This is our table name, and I kind of just stuck it on the back of each other. This is just such a busy page and I love it so much. And there was more photo booths, so I just kind of stuck it in here. And here is where I bought fingerless gloves, which I have next to me but I'm not wearing them. And so like these are just so warm. My hands get so cold. They're not cold right now and I didn't want them to get in the way of my filming, but I was just documenting that because I was like, this is genius. Why didn't I think of this earlier? Like I used to wear this all the time in high school, but the gloves, like I used to have gloves and I cut off the fingers of them. But these are great. They don't interfere with anything and it keeps my hands warm. Oh, I love them. I wanted to document that I normally just film one weekly update and post that on my Patreon for insiders and workshop patrons, but Kieran recommended that I split it into two so that I can update my journals like kind of top down like this, and that split was like such a good decision because it's so much easier to show my journals that way. And the reason why she wanted me to do that was so that I wouldn't feel guilty talking about my journals so much, and if people weren't interested in seeing it, you know, this one would just be the weekly business life finances update, and this will be just about my journals. So far it seems like people still watch both, but it's still really nice to have them in different formats because they are filmed differently. And here it's just some wholesome and funny moments on Discord. Again, I printed out these photos in the wrong scale, so they printed out way smaller than they were supposed to. This is me documenting doing my morning pages outside for the very first time since last winter. And it just got me very reflective on like how my process has changed since last winter, because I definitely not write differently, but I used to decorate my morning pages journal. And so I think I have a very different approach now, and I'm using like a pink pen because I was trying to use it up. But yeah, I just thought it was a very significant moment because I had a point of time that I could compare my life to. Like I can't really remember my life in key moments. Like I said, my memory is atrocious, and so being able to remember or like compare my life in stages like this, like winter in the seasons, I don't know, I find it helpful. So I just wanted to document that. And then documenting that my notebooks arrived. This was the same day, so it was a very busy day. Yeah, my notebooks arrived, and again, pictures are way too small, so you can't see anything. But of course, that was a big moment I wanted to document. And the same day again, I booked Bali accommodation, and I again ummed and ahed whether I wanted to put this in my life archives, but I decided to just do it because I wanted to like document what I thought at the time that I booked this. And so maybe in the future I can come back and look and, you know, see whether that was accurate or not. And again, the same day, the sunset was like super nice, so I just took some photos, and I was trying out a different layout because we are getting close to the end of it. And so I was thinking about how I wanted to journal in the next book. And so these photos really did not require many words. They were just pretty photos. And so I tried this layout. I printed it way too small again because it was the wrong scale, and I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. This is just a random moment. Again, the photos are a lot bigger, trying to let the photos take up a little bit more real estate on a page. Just another food date again with my husband and some iron-on patches that I bought. documenting the flip through for the planner that I designed, and just a picture of how it looks. And studio boots, which I'm wearing right now. So I needed boots for the studio because my feet always get really cold as well. I think I have really poor circulation in my hands and feet. And so this has helped so much, and I just keep that in the studio while I'm working. And I tried on this bag, but I didn't end up buying it. And I love this layout. I love that it's, as you can tell, I tried it without a frame. Tried printing photos without a frame. And I still prefer it with a frame, so I definitely went back to it after this. But I do like how these photos kind of just took up almost half the page, and then I didn't have to write as much. And just grateful for new growth, like new leaves of my plants. And then my pink pen died that day, and I was wearing my sun hat outside. Did I say that weird? My sun hat outside. Really random moment, nothing special, but this was very, very exciting for me because I had been waiting for that pink pen to die for so long. Here I was experimenting with a different layout, a little bit more junk journal-y because I love this photo, but I did not have much to say about it. There was nothing to say other than I was using the typewriter that day. And I don't think I loved it at the time, but I actually do really like it now. So I'm glad I spent the last few pages of these life archives just kind of experimenting. And again here, I didn't write a ton, but I just put some key like moments as dot points. And this is all from the same day. So again, food, not much to say other than like something small, like what it's called, coffee and donuts. That it ended up being 500 grams. This is like a DIY dessert. And yeah, I like this. I actually really like this. So when there's a day with a lot of photos, I think this works really well. And this is the very last spread for the journal. There's one last page, but this is the last kind of big writing page. And so I copied that spread again, the same one as the journal stack, this one, but I added a border to the photos, which I prefer a lot more. I added the caption, I didn't do it here, but I added just a little like caption for each photo here, which I really like. Added a title for the page. So if you notice, I started adding, well, I didn't do it there at all. But I started adding like a title to the pages and just underlined it so I could see like what that was about. And this one is just life lately. And I ended up just writing about the life archives because this was the very last spread. I was feeling sentimental, nostalgic about it all, and just was writing how I felt and how I felt like my journey with the life archives has kind of helped me, like how I've grown with it. And this was just documenting the early Patreon release for the insert, and that's just the thumbnail that I made and the early access shop and a little product inspiration gallery I did there. So yeah, I'm really proud of this because I tried a different layout here as well, so I could just write little captions here. So all I really wrote was this, but this amount of writing is so much more manageable than like what I used to do. Like that's too much writing compared to this. It doesn't look like a big difference, but it definitely felt like a big difference. And the very last page, which is just this, I had this film photo lying around that I took last year, and I really like it. I thought it'd be perfect to kind of end the journal with it as a kind of reminder. Well, I wrote, here's to capturing more memories and simple moments. And again, the reason why I like the life archives so much is because I have a place for these really simple moments that, you know, I didn't necessarily do anything. It's not a big, special, profound moment, and I'm just at home. But it's still my life, and I want to document my life through these photos. And this is another print that I made, and a photo that I took, and it was kind of just a seconds lying around, so I wanted to stick that in as kind of like, I don't know, I just thought it was a really nice way to end it. It captured the essence of the life archives for me, and so that's it. That's the end of the life archives, and it got pretty chunky. Not too bad considering how much I stuck in. I think scrap paper is not too bulky, but it's still got a very satisfying kind of chunk to it. And this sticker is from an artist called Errously, I will put it on the screen and in the description, her shop and her Instagram, but I just thought it was a really cute sticker to put on the front. But now that I have finished this journal, you may be asking, what am I going to move into now? Because this A5 journal was not it. Obviously, I'm not going to repurchase something with in this size, and definitely not with these lines. Like, I'm showing you every single page that doesn't have lines. I'm just so glad I managed to survive this, because this was not an entirely fun journal for me to use. I definitely had to push through quite a lot to finish this journal, but we made it. We made it to the very end, and I'm very glad I did that. Again, I started it. Did I write? No. I want to write like when I started and ended the journal, but the very first page was 16th of December 2021, and then I didn't really write in it again until a little bit in 2022, and then not again until I picked it up last year in 2023, October. And then I didn't really stop, and then it was just kind of non-stop memory keeping. So despite a few despite a few attempts to start memory keeping in this journal, it took 3 attempts, but we got there in the end. So this is the life archives completed. And the journal that I am moving into, which I mentioned in the mid-year Tetrakaigi, is the Midori. So when I bought this journal, I was so excited to use it. It was just so pretty and so cute. But as I mentioned in my Tetrakaigi, it was a struggle. Even though I loved the way it looked, it just wasn't really working for me. And I will do a quick flip through now. I won't really talk much. Well, we'll see. But I'll just show you what I've got so far. And yeah, again, I liked the way it looked. I just didn't have fun filling it out, even though it's just so nice to look back on. It was very short form daily highlights. But as I quickly realized, I'm not really a short form girly, and I prefer to write a lot, even though I just said that I can't write too much for my life archives. For daily logging, it's a little bit different, and so I didn't like how I had to restrict myself a little bit with this format and this size. And I was struggling with a day per page, and so there were just so many pages in this book, and I eventually switched to 1 week on 2 pages. Eventually, the stickers look so good in there, but it didn't work for me. So this is the first week on 2 pages, which looks nice, and I did write a lot here, but yeah, the little sentences didn't work for me. Even though I like the way the spread looks. I was happy about getting back into this kind of journaling as well, being able to layer things again, because I wasn't really journaling like this anywhere, but unfortunately it was not working for me. And so Feb 18, Feb 21, Feb 23, so I was trying to be consistent. And I think this is before I started the daily log, because I started that March 9th or something. So March 5th, I believe this is the last one. March 6th. Yes, so then I didn't write in it again until April 22nd, because after using the daily log for a while, I was like really committed to like using up this journal. I didn't want to just leave it. Like, I really wanted to just finish it and get it out of my system and like be done with it for the year, so that next year I have a fresh start. And so I tried a little bit longer form daily logging, but I much preferred it in my milligram, my longer form, like A5 milligram. That size is still too big, but it was definitely easier than this. Again, loved the way it looked, but this was kind of the final page for me, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just don't like it. And so I decided to just leave it there. And then once my life archives was done, I would switch to this journal. I'm not convinced that this journal is a good size for the life archives, because it is quite small. Is it A6? I think it's A6. But I thought it would be a really good experiment, at the very least, just a good test. And so I've only got these 2 pages so far, but I already really love that. I need to adjust the size of these photos, but as you can see, there is way less writing in here, and I kind of really love that. And I have some photos printed out here. Let me block. I have a burn wound, and I printed it out for myself, but I won't shock you with my wound. So I have some more photos these are for my commonplace, but I have some more photos to print out and stick in my life archives, which I will do maybe in a separate video, just like a journal with me. But that's where I'm at with my life archives. And so I've taken some notes for those photos that I just showed you, and when I paste it in, I can update these pages. I haven't fully figured out the layout that works for these pages yet, that works for me, so I don't really have a template for these pages just quite yet. But so far, I think I'm liking this. I don't know if I'll like it enough to want to continue with this journal when I've used it up, like next year. I don't know if I it's still so fresh. I've done 1 week in it, like 1 day in it really, and yeah, I can't really say if I will still love it by the end of the year. My biggest gripe with this is that it's just a bit too thick, and I don't think I want something this thick for the life archives photos, especially when I know it's going to bulk up quite a bit. And so yeah, I'm excited for the smaller size, because I think that'll help a lot with just letting the photos shine a little bit more and not needing to write as much. But I think it's definitely much more manageable to keep up with than the other life archives. And so that is all that I wanted to show you in this video. And so let me kind of show you the difference in size of these 2 journals. It's definitely a massive difference. And I love being able to print out a bigger photo. The photo at the end, I don't think will fit in the Midori. It's definitely too big. So if I do want to print out a photo, I will have to print out like a smaller version of it. But I'm really looking forward to experimenting in this. And I'm just especially glad that I found a new way to repurpose this journal, because it definitely wasn't working for me. And I didn't want to waste the journal, so I'm really glad I have a new way to use it. But that's the end of the video. That's the end of my flip through, my quick flip through of the Midori and the previous life archives. But I would love to know what size you enjoy for memory keeping, and do you tend to write more, or do you tend to let your photos shine more? And do you junk journal in your memory keeping, or do you just write and photo? Like, I'm really curious what your process is. So yeah, let me know what you use, and thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.